Hi friends, and welcome to the channel. I am so thrilled to be filming this video, as I am usually when I'm filming most of the videos. And you guys know that here we're all about our femininity, feeling fabulous, doing like just what you love to do as a woman, and living a life that is like that leaves you feeling like you're thriving, you're feeling great. And as always, I always go, it's okay, absolutely okay for you to go me first, especially when it comes to you doing your regular everyday things in life, when you are around your spouse, when you are around your community, and going, I am focusing on myself, and then I'm seeing how you guys figure into my life. Today, I am talking about how to get the most out of your life, right? And so I just love this photo that I have on the screen right now. It says, please. Okay, it doesn't say please, but it says, cancel my subscription. I am done with your issues, right? And so I know I'm talking about how to get the most out of your life, and you're going, how does this figure into that? I saw a quote that I was just like, oh my God, I love this. And so that is kind of the theme that we're going with in this video. And so it says, she doesn't beg, force, or chase. She prays, works, and has faith. Okay, so that was just a quote, but then back on, my recommendations on how to get the most out of your life. Number one, I really recommend that you know when to walk out of a situation, right? So avoid drama as much as possible. As a woman that's trying to work on her femininity, having a life of ease, having a life where, you're just feeling like you're not having low value, confrontational drama with the people around you, you have to know how to walk out of a situation, right? So do not avoid drama, do not entertain or indulge the dramatic, especially when it is negative energy. Literally, try to always have an exit plan prepared should you find yourself in a confrontational situation, right? I'll give you girls an example. One time I was dealing with a customer service representative, and the situation was so bad, right? Just to try and exit with ease, I even had to say something like, oh my God, my parents died today, right? Just as a way to try and end the conversation immediately, as a way to go, this is so awkward. I don't want to keep this conversation going. But she would not let it go, right? She would not let it go. She was just like, ooh, right? I could just see how she's just totally wanting to continue the whole conversation. So keeping in mind that you are coming across people who are that dramatic, people who are so ready to put you in such a bad mood, put you in such a bad light, you really have to take it seriously that you really should have an exit plan prepared in many situations in terms of your conversation, right? And so that means the moment you realize that the other person is not interested in coming to an agreement or putting in the effort to understand your problem, right? So this could mean that you must end the conversation even though your need has not been met, and decide to take care of this issue with someone else. Maybe another day, because you may be maybe you have come to the realization that your problem will not be solved by this person, since the person just wants to have drama, to humiliate you, or possibly put you in a compromising situation. So as a woman who wants to get the most out of your life, avoid those type of people like a plague. So those are the times that you usually should go. Honestly, I'm fine with talking to a manager, and I'd really like to talk to a manager. Or you know what, I'll just go straight to, like, I'll either go to the internet and, like, publicize your company or just something like that, right? But you have to know when to walk out of a situation, and so you should usually have something like, thank you so much, but I guess I don't think you're able to help me today, and that's okay. Maybe I'll try someone else, or I'll try tomorrow, or I'll just write straight to your manager. But I see that you are more in the mood to actually aggravate me rather than to help me. So that could also just be with your friends and regular everyday people. And you have to know when to walk out and say, this conversation is over. I don't think that we're actually going to get to, like, we're going to see eye to eye, and that's just that. And so you are prepared and you're like, okay, I'm walking out now. So my second recommendation on, like, things that you can do to get the most out of your life is spirituality. I love this quote that I saw, and it says, you can't break a woman who gets her happiness from God, right? So on this channel, I honestly will not discuss religion or spirituality like much. However, I know that spirituality is so important for most people, especially women, which is why I will briefly touch on the subject every now and then, because I know that you honestly cannot have a channel that's catering to women's well-being and, like, just recommending how they can thrive while they're being in their femininity or just being their best self, without, like, like, touching on spirituality. But I know that the, like, discussion on religion is so messy, which is why honestly I'm just like, I am not, like, touching so much on that part of things. I am, like, just, like, going more on the spiritual sense, because I know that like many of us have different belief systems, right? So as some of you know, physically, the average woman has been termed as the weaker sex when compared to our masculine counterpart. Like, which honestly, most of you on this channel, which we are talking about femininity, we're absolutely happy to be feminine women, right? Should not really have much of a problem with. But just because on average we have been termed as the weaker sex physically does not mean that it also has to be the case mentally, right? So this is the area that I think we can really shine in and possibly even outshine our masculine counterparts at home and even at work. Not necessarily because you are trying to compete with your masculine counterpart, because you should know that that is your complement. At work, of course, you should be competing with all the males who are at work, because you are hired there, because you are supposed to be equal to them. So that should be a given, that that the whole point is you have to compete with your masculine counterpart at work. So, but here, when I'm talking about, like, competition, I'm mostly, like, like, talking about generally most of your brothers, your spouse, right? And so things like that. So it's like, you may be like, and I honestly, in fact, believe that women are actually already doing quite well at that, right? So outshining men on, like, like, mindset and just being, like, a bit more mentally tough in lots of situations that you don't, or at least most people don't generally reflect in, where this would be so stressful for a man, but for some reason a woman is able to just do so well, right? Because usually we are more able to, like, like, just diffuse situations, because I guess women generally tend to be less confrontational. They tend to be, like a little more agreeable than men. So that already is a strength, right? So examples of how you can, like do really well in this area is be there for your friends and the people around you in times of trouble, right? You can initiate get-togethers with your friends as often as possible, since some of them may just not be thoughtful enough to do it, even though they really want to spend time with others, right? So that is being that person who, like checks on your friends and is like, oh my God, would you guys like to hang out this week? Would you guys like to hang out next week? Should we throw together a party for like Stacy? Or, like just something like that, right? So you don't think that that's important work, but it really is, because some of your friends are depressed and they just don't know how to do things like this, right? So you can organize community events and get people to get together, right? So that woman is always loved and appreciated by most people around her, especially if she knows how to make it all about herself, right? So you are very important in the events that you are putting together, right? And so she does not allow others to take her spotlight, and so does not walk out of situations feeling like she has been used. She genuinely feels appreciated and loved by the people around her, right? So you throw together an event and you are so happy to have the people there, because they're like, oh my God, everyone loves your parties, everyone feels so amazing, and like everyone is getting together and they are really sharing in the work you initiated, like the event, but you're seeing others help you and you're not afraid to ask them to help you, right? And you actually tell them what you want them to help you with, right? So things like that. To be this woman and to feel amazing, nourished, and appreciated, you may need to gather your strength from a higher power, because it's honestly not an easy task, especially because some women are having to do this when they already have full-time jobs as well, right? So especially if you want to walk out of this situation feeling like you are valued and appreciated, spirituality will absolutely help. So some days no one will recognize you or make you feel appreciated for the work that you are doing. Those are the days that your spirituality will especially be a great source of nourishment and encouragement to keep you working, and and just encourage you to keep doing your best for yourself and your community, even on the days that you're really feeling like there is little to no hope. My third recommendation is learn to forgive yourself, to move on, and always be ready to carve up a new identity for yourself as effortlessly and guilt-free as possible. Like this quote that says, no amount of guilt can change the past. Keep going, friend, right? Keep moving forward. So, we have all done something in the past that makes current us cringe, right? You probably still will do like so many other acts that will make future you cringe, right? Because I don't know, some things are just like, oh, it sounded like such a fantastic idea in the moment, but then future you is like, oh my God, that was such a bad decision. But you know what? You probably will keep doing that, right? So it is very important to recognize that most past transgressions that make present you cringe are really small, forgivable errors, and you really should give yourself a break more often, right? And honestly, just give yourself a break. Forgive yourself. It's like, like, oh my gosh, I embarrassed myself on this day. It's okay. Everyone does it, right? Everyone does it. It's not the end of the world. Everyone has done it. And some people will probably just look like, this one has never done anything that's embarrassing. But then he or she probably has, right? And so that's why you must just go, oh, wow, that was so cringeworthy. But honestly, I have forgiven myself and I have moved on. Why is this important? Because it will allow you to, it will allow you to explore more things, right? So don't be afraid to try new things. They may be embarrassing in the future, but then, you know what? You have tried something new, right? And you are the CEO of your life. You need to give yourself room to breathe, explore, and come up with new things, right? So pick up different hobbies, find new and exciting ways to describe yourself. This is a very important point because how we describe ourselves is generally how we end up being. Like, for example, for myself, I am not a very social person, and some of you are probably not too. However, I know how to socialize with others comfortably should I need to. Right? So you have to be able to know the difference between I am not a very social person and I cannot socialize with others even when I need to. So keeping that in mind, you should start small, right? It can be something like, I am an exciting person and I am able to entertain my friends and strangers that I meet with ease, right? And so, it's little things like this that you're like, oh, I will not keep repeating that I'm not able to do something that I really am not able to. However, you can express a preference, but if you're good at doing something but you choose not to do it, that is a very different situation, right? So you can say things like, this is the best time to be living and I am making the best of it. And honestly, you should. Right? So a lot of your self-talk should generally be around something like that, right? Adding excitement to your life, just making you feel a bit more interesting. Start to think of yourself as an interesting person. Come up with activities that you think interesting people do and do them. Right? Do activities that you think interesting people do and share them with your friends, right? And you and then a few years down the road, you're like, oh my gosh, I have so many new exciting hobbies and I'm actually a very interesting person because I've been consciously working on that, right? So you may have a difficult time with carving a new identity for yourself because your friends, even when they are super supportive, may really not adopt to your changes as fast as you would like them to. Honestly, do not worry too much about them as long as you are not requiring them to change too. So make your changes about yourself. Don't start being that annoying person that starts to tell people how they need to change too unless they have asked you. Right? So if it's not your job to tell people how they need to change and, just make your changes about yourself and don't try to teach people anything. Even if your work is to be a life coach, most of your friends are probably not interested in you teaching them anything unless they have asked you to. Right? So your friends will adjust to your new self, or maybe you will lose some of them, which according to me is always fine depending on how important the changes you are making are to you, right? So don't be afraid to lose some friends because honestly sometimes those life-changing decisions that you make are absolutely essential so that it's honestly worth losing some friends over, right? So there will always be someone that is ready to guilt trip you or bring up past mistakes. Do not try to hide most of your mistakes or allow other people to shame you out of making a change to your person/personality that you think is absolutely essential. Honestly, I'm just like, be as open as possible. Open book. Someone asks you a question and you're like, oh, the only reason I won't answer you that is because it's personal. Not because I actually care to hide it or anything like that. It's just personal. But most likely, I don't see why I would not answer that, question, especially as a woman, right? Because it just really helps when you're able to go everywhere just feeling like, oh, you know what? I have nothing to hide, and I am not ashamed of most of the things that I have done. I am really open, and I don't know, right? Like, I don't have too much to hide. And yes, I have some embarrassing things that have happened, but I'm okay with that, right? And so when someone tries to guilt trip you, you're just like, oh, sorry, wrong person, try someone else, right? So my friends, those are some of the things that I thought, to recommend today for how to get the most out of your life. I hope that they have really, I hope that this has been valuable to you, and I am looking forward to I'm looking forward to making another video and just posting this content out here for you guys. And I'm also looking forward to hear from some of you on what you think about some of the points that I have discussed. And if you like the videos, don't forget to subscribe or like. And yeah, so you have a fantastic week, and I am looking forward to making another video for you guys. Otherwise, bye bye.